Hey, what's up? Welcome back to my channel. It is another day, another video on my parents' lounge room floor. But today I felt inspired to talk about a topic that could potentially be a little sensitive. So I just wanted to put a little disclaimer at the start saying that I don't mean for this to offend anyone, or I'm not trying to be right or wrong. I don't really think there is any right or wrong in this area, in my opinion. So I'm just kind of sharing my experience only to try and help other people if they might be going through the same thing. I know that I'm kind of talking to myself a few years ago in this case, so that's kind of the reason why I'm doing it. But basically what I wanted to talk about today is why I am no longer vegan. Or I know that I wasn't living a complete vegan lifestyle, so I can't really say that, so it was more plant-based. And I just wanted to talk about my journey with it and why I decided to no longer be plant-based, and why I think that we should be reassessing our diets really often, and why sometimes putting on a harsh label can actually do quite a bit of damage to yourself and your relationship with food. So I'll definitely go into like my whole health journey another day. This is not the video for that, otherwise it would be so long. But in terms of my journey with a plant-based diet, I pretty much started to kind of think about this a few years ago when it like blew up on social media, and there was all of these like vegan influencers and like Really the Banana Girl and all those girls. So me and my sister loved watching those type of videos, and she decided before me, but then I kind of decided to try out a plant-based diet. And I don't know, it just never worked for me completely. I mean, there were times when it was easier and times when it was harder. But the main thing that I found was it just became a real strain on my mental health, because it really put like fine rules into what you can and you can't eat, and what's good and what's bad. And it just kind of added all of this stress and really kind of messed up my relationship with food, because I was always thinking about, you know, what I could eat, or like, yeah, it just became like not a positive thing at all really, which I know is what veganism is supposed to be, but it kind of just became a super negative thing for me personally. In terms of how I felt in my body, it just didn't really work in the way that I felt like I kind of had, I was less lean and I was really tired. So it wasn't like physically working for me either. I think everyone's body type is different. So I think some people can totally thrive on a vegan diet. And I'm not saying that I did it right. I probably didn't do it right. I probably wasn't doing it the way you should to, you know, have optimal health. But that's another thing. I mean, I didn't know if I could do it right. Like I wasn't sure how to go about that, and I wasn't sure if I even wanted to put in the effort to do that, to be perfectly honest, because I think to do a vegan diet right is quite hard. That's just my opinion. Okay, sorry, my camera just ran out of space, but we are back. Oh yeah, switching back to my normal diet. That took way longer than it should have. So earlier this year, I decided that I wanted to try out going back to the diet that I had before that, which is a pretty like healthy, balanced diet. So I have organic meat. I don't try and care too much about like details, like if I'm out for dinner and it's not organic, it's fine, whatever. But when I'm at home cooking meat, I try and make sure that it is organic, and I just have veggies. On the whole, I try and be gluten-free, but again, I don't care if I go out for breakfast and I have, you know, some bread, or I have pasta, or I have a burger, like every now and then. Like I just try not to care about that at all, and really into incorporating everything into your diet and allowing yourself, giving yourself the permission to eat everything. But yeah, on the day-to-day, I just feel better if I don't have that much gluten. And then I have like a little bit of dairy, like some yogurt or some cheese, like just every now and then, again, whenever I feel like it. But mainly I just have protein and veggies, and I still have heaps of vegetarian and vegan meals. I love chickpeas and tofu and all that kind of stuff. Like I lived on it for ages, so I still incorporate that a lot into my diet, and I do have eggs as well. I honestly say that I feel so different since doing this. I think mainly mentally, also in my body, but the main difference is mental. I feel so much more mentally healthy in terms of my food and my relationship to food. And I think that health has so much more to do with just how you look. It is all about your mentality as well. And there's no point, you know, being on a diet just because you think you should, and then it really messing with your own brain and, you know, your mental health. So you're actually kind of making yourself sick in a way, in that way, in my opinion. So I guess the reason why I'm sharing this story is because I think it's important for people to share that they've like tried something out and then it didn't really work, or they tried something out and then they checked back in with their body and they didn't know how it felt, or they checked back in with their, you know, mental state. Because I think, you know, in this day and age, it's so easy to just like slap a label on something and say, oh, now I'm paleo, or now I'm vegan, or now I'm vegetarian, and not be actually like checking back in with yourself like months later and saying, hey, like, is this working for me? Like, how am I feeling? Like, I think we can just get kind of swept up with something and it might not be what's best for us, or it might not be what we really want, but we just think that we have to because everyone else is. And I truly think that there's not one way to be healthy. There's not one diet that's the only diet you can do if you're going to be healthy. There's just not like, I just think there's so many different ways to be healthy. So you may as well pick the one that is going to suit you and your lifestyle and you're going to be able to stick to. And especially for me, now that I'm having more of a balanced diet, I feel like I don't feel the need to, you know, eat really clean for like a week and then just like eat junk food for a week. You know what I mean? Like that kind of doesn't really happen anymore, because when I feel like a burger, I just have one and then I just move on, and it's just so much more of a better relationship. And I'm sure I can go into this more. I feel like this video has been super rambling, but I just wanted to share that if you feel like you are kind of being put into a pigeonhole and you don't really like where you are, really in any like thing in life, but especially with diet, there's always, you know, room to move around and to change, and that is totally cool. So I just wanted to give you that little background into my diet over the last few years, and I hope that helps someone and I hope it wasn't too boring. So if you want to see more of my videos and like my recipes and stuff like that, then make sure to subscribe, and I will see you soon.